Alright, hey, HadesOmega here, and welcome to the after action review for Wednesday Night Drags, August 2nd, 2023. Alright, so the first race of August. Alright, it's been a month. It's been a month since the last time we raced. That's what I'm going to say. Alright, and we raced with Alta Redshift SM39. Okay, and you can see I got the numbers on the bike now and everything. Yeah, they're kind of small. Okay, but anyway, so today was a pretty good day of racing, is what I'll say. All right, so here's well, you guys know what's supposed to happen. We're gonna take the Redshift down to Sonoma Raceway and race in Wednesday Night Drags. All right, and it was a pretty good turnout. It was kind of just the usual faces. There was a couple new riders too. I think there was like 3 or 4 people that I never seen. Some dude had like a turbo Hayabusa. That's the first time I ever seen a turbo Hayabusa. It was pretty awesome. I just want to say, all right. Just think, if Joe can get like 9 seconds on a non-turbo Hayabusa, how fast can a turbo Hayabusa go? That's what I was wondering. I didn't bother to check with him after, but he came kind of late. Anyway, so yeah, I arrived at Sonoma Raceway around like 2 o'clock. Yeah, just before they let people in and stuff. And this time they sent us to under the bleachers and stuff. That's where I like it. And we did the tech inspection there, and I don't know, they kind of messed something up with my tech card, and they couldn't figure out like who I was later, till I told them, hey, this is me, find my tech card. Right? Yeah, I don't think he put the proper number on it. Maybe next time I'll just put the number on it. My tech card had like a 1 on it. I was like, that's weird. Why would it be 1? I don't think I'm the first one here, you know, but usually that's the way they number the tech cards, by the order that you show up to the, to buy your drag racing ticket and stuff. Anyway, so we go in there, I get everything set up, and so if you remember correctly from the last race, I spun in the last race and I lost. But we found out this bike is pretty consistent, all right, because it what's the scoop? It runs out of breath at 80 miles an hour, all right? Once you get to 80 miles an hour, it will not accelerate anymore. So once you hit 80 miles an hour, it just kind of just sails along. And what the good thing is, this thing has a boatload of torque, and it can punch its way through the wind, all right? So the wind doesn't affect it much, unlike the Light Bee, and yeah, it's consistent because its top speed is limited, okay? And I don't think there's any way to get around that, unless you change the sprocket or something to like a bigger one, or a smaller sprocket, okay? But I don't know if we're going to do that. Anyway, so yeah, we got the bike downloaded, and we're ready to go. And so one of the first things I do was I lowered the tire pressure. I lowered the tire pressure to like 26 psi, somewhere around that area. Okay, I thought that was a good place to start. The last time we raced, I didn't really have all that many problems with traction. Okay, so that's the reason you would want to lower your tire pressure, is so you can get more grip. It creates more contact patch with the ground, and it gives you more grip, right? But it also creates more rolling resistance, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword a little bit. But I remember that is one of the options that you can do, to keep the tires from spinning. And the spinning tires eats up your time, guys. you're not putting the power to the pavement, all right? You're just spinning tires, and yeah. So to prevent that, I lowered the tire pressure, and the whole night I raced with that tire pressure. I didn't mess with it again, and I had no spins. All right, yeah, so I'll kind of tell you my techniques, and then we'll just go over the time slips, and then that'll be the AR, like who I raced, how I did it, you know, that type of stuff. All right. But anyway, the way the important thing is to be consistent. All right. If you're doing something, you got to keep on doing it over and over again. All right. And so so what I noticed is this bike is tall. All right, it's a tall bike, and I can't and you have to put your weight on the bike. All right, and it's kind of hard to do. You kind of have to be on your tippy toes, but you got to try to get your weight on the bike before you twist the throttle. All right, and then that's one of the things. Maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe I might have spun last time, but that's what I noticed is that you got to put your weight on the saddle. All right, or else it's not gonna, you know, put your body weight on the tires. All right, so that's what I try to do. I sat in like the middle of the seat, like right on top of where the foot pegs are, so you're kind of balanced. But also I had my elbows up and I was leaning forward, so we can just make sure the front doesn't come up. All right, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple runs where like the front, it didn't come up, but I can feel it. It's getting light. It's getting ready to come up. But like I kind of just, I was able to keep it down, you know, sort of. Those kind of wheelies are okay when the front just kind of comes up, but you can keep on the throttle and just ride it out. Yeah, that's the best one. The worst is if it just comes straight up and then you have no choice but to just let go of the throttle and let it go back down, or you can use the rear brake to bring it down, but then you already, like, you know, you've messed up basically. Okay. But yeah, tonight I had really good I did really good on this guy. Okay, so have we changed anything since last time? We're still running the same crappy tires as last time. I do have some slicks. All right, I do have some racing slicks, but I feel like I don't really need them for this drag racing. All right, these are adequate. That's what I'm saying. All right, so all we did was we just lowered the tire pressure. I also lubed the chain before we went racing. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Okay. All right, so first pass comes along. All right, and so the interesting thing to note is the first pass we had a tailwind. All right, so HadesOmega attempted to do a fast pass, is what I call it. All right, fast pass is when you try to make your bike go as fast as possible via, you got a headwind, and I also shallow stage. All right, so when you go in shallow, all right, you're farther back from the beams. All right, so when you cross the beams, you're already moving, so your ET will actually be better. All right. However, your reaction time suffers, okay, because you're farther away from the beam, and yeah, it takes you longer to get to the beam. All right, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. However, we're trying to go for our best time. All right, and HadesOmega did it. All right, so on the first pass, I think I was racing. It was racing dude with sorry, I keep on forgetting his name. He had a Honda Hornet. All right, he normally races a Aprilia RSV4, very fast bike. All right, but this Hornet was pretty fast too. He was running 12s. All right, so anyway, so here's what I got for the first pass. All right, like I mentioned, it was a tailwind. All right. Oh, and the weather throughout the whole day was actually pretty good. I thought it was going to get really cold at night, but it didn't. It actually kind of stayed the same temperature the whole time. It was a little warm in the daytime, so it's kind of nice that I had a two-piece suit. All right, I could take my jacket off. All right. Anyway, first run, number 30 mine on the left, and my reaction time is 0.218. All right, already not very good. All right. Our 60 foot was 1.926. 330 foot was 5.206. 1/8 mile was 8.154 at 79.25 miles an hour. Our 1,000 foot was 11.047, and our ET was 13.772 with a miles per hour of 80, all right, 80.00 miles per hour. So that just goes to show, with a tailwind, this thing was spot on at 80 miles an hour. That's all I can say is like it's calibrated very well. The speedometer, all right, or whatever's limiting the speed on this thing, it's doing a good job. All right, it's almost like you're kind of like in a vacuum or something. But anyway, we beat our previous time. I think it was 13.9 something something. All right, and we got 13.772. So that's HadesOmega's newest fast record for the Alta Redshift SM39. All right, pretty cool. 13.772. Okay, and yeah, and then the other dude did a 12.6 for his ET. Pretty fast. That horn is pretty fast. That's what I'll say. Okay, and yeah, so that's indicates. Oh yeah. Well, we did go shallow, so that did get my ET up to 13.7. Oh, but it also, I think it made our reaction time suffer because we got a .218. Okay, second run comes along, and who are we running against, man? I don't remember. Ah, yeah, we're running against Joe. All right, so the second round of practice comes along, and so now it's time to not mess around. All right, we got to get the bike dialed in. All right, so I go in and I go deep stage. All right, so deep stage is when you go a little bit more forward, so you trip the beam faster. And it just has the opposite effect. It makes your ETs go up. It makes your ETs go up, and you makes your reaction times go down. All right. So, and so we got a .117. It's pretty good. I think that's my best reaction time of the night. All right. And we had a 60 foot of 2.002, 330 foot of 5.321, a 1/8 mile of 8.320 at 78.78 miles an hour. Our 1,000 foot was 11.241. ET 13.990 at 79.19 miles an hour. Okay, and Joe destroyed us by 4.8 miles. He got like a 9.18. Okay, on the quarter mile. Ridiculously fast. 147 miles an hour. Yeah. 148 miles an hour, guys. That bike is crazy fast. I could not keep up with it at all, man. Okay, in the launch, even down the strip. No, there's no way we kept up with that thing. That thing is a freaking missile. Okay, so that was the second run, and we got a good reaction time. Good job, HadesOmega, and we kind of got a benchmark for the next run is 13.9. All right, so 13.990. So yeah, we're just hovering around that kind of 14-second area. Okay, third practice comes along, and oh yeah, I forgot to mention in the second run, the wind shifted already. All right, so and that's normal. That's usually what happens. Sometimes we'll get this tailwind, and then we get a headwind, and it's just a headwind the rest of the night, and that was the case for tonight. That's what I'll say. Okay, so the second and third runs had a headwind. All right, now the wind wasn't like crazy fast. I would say was 6 to 8 miles an hour, somewhere around there. So yeah, but we did have a headwind, and yeah, I'm sure it affected our times a little bit. All right. But yeah, like I said, the good thing is this has a lot of torque to punch through the wind. Okay, now for some reason, for the third pass, they had me down as a number 38. So yeah, I don't know, that might totally messed up my numbers and everything. I don't know why, because at some point, yeah, my name wasn't down on the grid sheet. That's one thing. All right. Anyway, for the third one, we raced against this this little Honda. I don't even know what it was, man. It was like a Honda. It was a Honda 125, all right? That's what I want to say. He said it's a Honda 125, but there's a 200cc motor in it, all right? This is literally the slowest bike there that night, okay? So I had a reaction time of .161. Yeah, still not as good as last time, but all right, we can work with that. All right. Ideally, I would want my reaction times to be under zero point 0.1, all right, or 1/10 of a second, and we're just kind of hovering above 0.1, which is not good. You want to get it closer, right? We got to find some way to get that RT down, all right, the reaction time. Anyway, yeah, we got a reaction time of .161 was okay. 60 foot is 2.029. 330 foot is 5.368. 1/8 mile is 8.366 at 79.05 miles an hour. 1,000 foot was 11.295, and our ET was 14.049 at 79.24 miles an hour. Okay, and we just kind of destroyed that little Honda bike, man. The Honda bike was like 20.961 ET, and with a reaction time of .680. Pretty bad, man. All right. We beat that dude by 7 seconds, man, if you believe it. That thing was super slow. Okay, so yeah, so that's what we have to go off of. All right, for the first one, we had 13.7. That doesn't kind of count because that was a fast pass, like I said. We had a tailwind on that one. So we only have 2 runs to go data off of, all right? And we had the 13.9 and the 14, all right? And also, I forgot to mention, one of them was on the left and one of them was on the right, okay? It's good to practice both, but just trying to keep, I would just try to stay with one. I prefer the left side, guys. Okay. Anyway, we got a 13.990 and a 14.049. So I decide to do the 13.9, all right, to play it safe, all right? And so one thing I've noticed about this bike is throughout the night it gets slower and slower and slower. Okay, so your ETs will start rising and rising and rising as the battery charge goes down, down, down. Okay, so I think after tonight's racing, it's pretty close to 50% discharged. All right, so just the more, yeah, it seems like every run our ET was starting to go up. All right, so. Yeah, not so good. But to compensate for that, you can just change your dial. All right, is what I want to say. So just make sure. I would for the future HadesOmega, just make sure you're keeping track of your dial. You know what? Yeah, your dial in your ETs, and then figure out what your next dial in time is going to be. Okay. Because we did have to play around with it a little bit tonight, okay? Alright, first race comes along. Okay, yeah, this is when they messed up all the numbers on the grid, and for some reason they had a 38 and 39, and they didn't have my name down. Yeah, so what happened was they misplaced my my tech card or something. They couldn't figure out who I was. But I was out there racing. Okay, eventually they figured it out. So this is the first round of elimination, and I believe I raced Alfredo. All right, I'll race Alfredo on his Harley Road Glide bagger. Okay, big bike, man. Big bike. All right, and the funny thing is, his ETs are similar to the Redshift, so that's kind of crazy, right? Well, this thing is way lighter than that, but the Road King has like a huge engine, man. It's more than a liter, man. So it's got a lot of power. Just want to say. Okay. Anyway, we were on the right side. I think he said he wanted to be on the right. He wanted to be on the left side, so his family could see him or something. And so I said, okay, whatever. I'll be on the right side then. All right. Good thing we practiced on both sides. Alright, so I dialed in that 13.9 that I was talking about, and we ran a reaction time of .159, 60 foot of 1.995, and a 330 foot of 5.346. 1/8 mile is 8.390 at 78.07 miles an hour, and 1,000 foot is 11.3919. Okay. And we won with a 14.073 ET. Okay? And so our dial-in was 13.9, and our ET was 14, pretty much 14 flat almost. So we were like a tenth of a second off, all right? And so Alfredo got a reaction time of .352 versus our .159. We did like twice as good on the light as he did, okay? He's off like 15.15, all right? He's .15 off. So we treat him basically, all right? And he dialed in a 13.83 and ran a 14.007. All right, so he was 2/10 off, and I was 1/10 off, and my reaction time was better. So we won by 0.2. All right, pretty much. It says here 0.1976. Just call that 0.2. Right, 0.2 of a second. So, yeah, man, drag racing, fractions of a second count, guys. Okay, and yeah, so we advanced to the second round. We beat Alfredo by 0.2 seconds, our margin of victory. Okay. Yeah, we just ran better than him. What can I say? Okay, second race comes along, and I'm against Brad Hawes, all right, or Hawks, or Hawes. Or sorry, I forget his name, but he was racing a NOS-powered Hayabusa, all right. Some crazy long swing arms and all that stuff. Yeah, I actually got a video of me sitting on it too. I got to sit on it. Okay. Anyway, so I see that my reaction times are I see that my ETs are starting to go up. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna dial up. All right, we're gonna, instead of 13.9, we're gonna do 14. All right, because it seems like the bike is getting slower. What did we run last? We ran like a 14.0 something. Yeah, we ran a 14.073 last time. So my guess is that, yeah, we will probably run slower in the next run. So let's move the dial in up. Okay, so I moved it up to 14 flat. All right, and Brad does 10 seconds flat. All right, so that just tells you the difference between the bikes, man. His bike is way faster than mine. Okay, okay, so we go. And my reaction time is .187. Not very good, guys. All right, that's probably one of my worst tonight. All right, 60 foot was 2.011. 330 foot was 5.383. Our 1/8 mile was 8. Okay, yeah, we definitely ran slower. All right, it's a good thing we dialed up a little bit. All right, so we were off by 0.144 seconds. All right, because we did 14 seconds flat. Right, so pretty easy to do the math. All right. So Brad dials in 10 seconds flat, all right, and he runs a 10.282, right? So he's .282 off, all right? So his 282 versus our 144 off, ours is actually better, all right? However, his reaction time is much better than ours. He got a .050 reaction time. Really good reaction time. Those are the kind of reaction times HadesOmega wants, but he can't get. Unfortunately, all right? We're working on it. We're working on it, man. And so his reaction time is like 3 times as good as ours, all right? Literally, he was like 0.137, all right? His reaction time is 0.137 better than ours. So you add that to the time, all right, to our time, and then yeah, and so anyway, when all the math is done and stuff, all right, with the poor reaction time, but we got a better run than him, we won by 0.0013 seconds, guys. It's freaking some like 13 thousandths of a second, guys. It's freaking ridiculous. Like I said, fractions of a second, right? There you go. So we had a really, really close race with Brad, all right? So Brad had a better reaction time, so that kind of, you know, that didn't add to his score, you know, as it didn't penalize him as much, all right? However, ours was 3 times as worse, and so we squeaked away with the victory. Our run was better, all right? We ran our dial better. However, our reaction time sucked. All right, so yeah, you really got to work on your reaction times, HadesOmega. .1 is not good enough. You got to get under .1. All right, I can do it in the light beat, you know. Yeah, I think we just got to figure out. I think we got to go deeper, man. We got to go deeper than deep. That's what I say, all right. So what HadesOmega's been doing is we go to the light. When the light goes off, I just stop, and then we're staged, all right. But I think what I should do. Tyler taught me something where when the light goes off, you like put your heels up, and then you move the bike forward until you get to your feet flat. That way, and that way you can use that every time. You just use that technique every time. Roll the bike forward until your feet are flat. You'll have like a consistent like place that you're launching from all the time. Okay, so I say it's kind of hard like just using the lights because you can kind of swim around in there a little bit. So I say, okay. Anyway, so the final run, all right. For HadesOmega tonight, all right. You already know I'm gonna lose, all right. The third run, all right. So HadesOmega made it into the third round, all right. That's pretty good, man. I don't normally make it that far. I usually get eliminated the first round. All right. I dial in. I use the same dial as before, 14. All right. Why did I think we're not gonna go even slower this time around? All right, guys. So also the wind kind of plays tricks with us. All right. It looks like sometimes the wind dies down a little bit, and it's a headwind. It's a headwind all night, but it looks like it kind of dies down. And if it like dies down, we might go faster. You know, aerodynamics, right, guys? Anyway, so we dial it. Who are we racing here? We're racing. Okay. We're racing Doug Love. All right. Oh, my favorite person to race against, Doug Love, man. Okay, Doug Love is like the guy to beat, man. He is the best. All right. He's my drag racing senpai, all right. And I've raced Doug many times, and I've never beat him, never. Okay, and unfortunately tonight was not that night either. Okay, so I dialed in a 14 seconds flat just like last time, and I ran a .131 reaction time. All right, not bad, better than last time. All right, but still not good enough to beat Doug, all right. And our 60 foot was 2.060, 330 foot 5.444. Our 1/8 mile was 8.511, 77.58 miles an hour. Our 1,000 foot is 11.444. Okay. ET was 14.194 at 79.23 miles an hour. It seemed like the run was pretty good. I did everything that I could to do, and those are the numbers that I got. All right, guys. So we dialed in a 14, and we ran a 14.194. So we were almost 0.2 off. Pretty bad. All right, that's what I want to say. Worse than last time, anyway. We were .194 off. All right, pretty much 0.2. So Doug dials in a 13.18, and he runs a reaction time of .087. So what did I say, man? You got to be on your game with Doug, man, because his reaction times are really good. All right, so he got us by, let me see, let's just say that's 0.9, 0.04 seconds. All right, he had 0.04 seconds on us, like, and it's just like, yeah, man, fractions of a second. He ran a 13.224, all right, and he dialed in a 13.18, so he's only 0.04 off, all right. Yeah, not only is, so yeah, that's kind of like a double whammy right there. His reaction time was better than ours by 0.04, and his run, all right, his dial in and his run is only off by 0.04, all right. While we're off already 0.194, all right, and our reaction time is worse than his. So Doug beat us by 0.1942 seconds, all right, after all the math and stuff. Boo-hoo, all right, guys, and I lost to Doug again, all right, and that's the end of the race for us tonight. And so what happened? Ooh, okay, yeah, so HadesOmega actually made it to the semi. Was he in the semifinal? No, that wasn't the semifinal. After that, Doug advanced to the semifinal, and I think it was Doug and no, I think Doug got a bye run. Yeah, Doug got a bye run, and I think Sean. Yeah, Doug got a bye run, and I think Sean raced with Eric Oliver. All right. Sean was racing a MV Augusta F4, and Eric was racing his Aprilia Mille. Okay. And both very fast bikes. They're very fast. They're like 10-second bikes, you know. And so I think Sean beat Eric, and then Sean raced Doug and lost against Doug. All right, he said something about he fell asleep at the light or something, and he went at the wrong time. So I think Doug won tonight. All right, guys. I don't know because I had to leave early because I had to get some. I was gonna meet with Rashid 510, and he was gonna update the firmware on my bike. All right, that's what, and he did that. So I didn't really stick around to watch the races after that. So sorry, guys. Less action for you guys. I always like the last, if we didn't make it all the way, or if we didn't win, and HadesOmega has never won, right, guys? I would have got video of the races, all right, third person video type of thing. Okay. So yeah, what can I say? What can we do to improve next time? What went well this time? All right, yeah, I know our form is pretty good. And we're not popping wheelies. All right, I did feel the front get light a couple times, but it was okay. It was manageable. All right, I just was able to hold the throttle open and no problems. All right, I think lowering the tire pressure helped. All right, so that's what we're going to do every time. We're going to lower the tire pressure to about 25-ish psi. Okay, and that should keep us from spinning. Also, what helped today was it was warmer today. All right, it was throughout the whole day. It was kind of pleasant weather. It got maybe just a little bit chilly at the end of the day, but not as cold as last time. Okay, and so that contributed to our traction. All right, we had good traction, and lowering the tire pressure. So we'll probably always lower the tire pressure, just to be sure. Is what I want to say. Okay, and then and reaction times, HadesOmega, you got to work on your reaction times. They're good, but they're not good enough, is what I want to say, all right? Dot 1 is okay, all right? If you can get around the dot 1, the dot 2, it's okay, man. Like and I'm talking like tenths of a second, guys. But if you, we gotta try to get under dot 1, all right? I can close to do it in the light B, is what I want to say. Anyway, yeah, so just work on your reaction times. That's what I learned. The reaction times are killing me out there, guys. If you could win races if you get good reaction times, guys. Because if you got a good reaction time and you do kind of a crappy run, it may save you, all right? It may save you, because that time, your reaction time gets added onto your time, all right? And then it makes it worse for you, okay? It lowers your score, type of thing, all right? Yeah, but the bike ran good. We just have to be, I know the way the bike behaves throughout the night, alright? There's a couple things we can try to keep it, it gets slower throughout the night, basically, alright? And one thing we could do is we could charge the bike between races, alright? If there's an outlet around, so to say, right? Or bring the generator along, right? And try to keep the battery topped up, so it's at like full power all the time. Or what we can do, there's two more things we can do, okay, and that's working with the light, all right, working with the tree. What we could do is we can stage deeper, all right, until we can get thing. So what we could do is when we get to deep stage, all right, deep stage is when like the top two bulbs, they disappear, and that means you're in deep, okay. And what we could do is when the lights so what HadesOmega was doing was when I stop at the lights, I mentioned it earlier. When I stop at the light, all right. So what I was doing is I would move up, and then when the light turns off, I would just stop as soon as I could. All right. And then so what I got to do is I got to move a little bit farther. Okay. So next time we'll wait till the bulb goes out. And then what I'll do is I'll keep my foot on there. I'll come up with both of my feet on the ground. I'll put my heels on the ground, and then we'll move until our feet are flat. All right, we'll move forward until our feet are flat, and then that's a trick Tyler taught me, and we're gonna try it. Okay, that's what we're gonna try next time. All right, and then that we'll go in deep. All right, that, or you could try to push the bike a little bit more. But I think the thing with your feet is kind of, the only thing is this thing is a tall bike, and it's kind of hard for me to get my feet on the ground like that. So we'll see, guys. We'll try it out. We got to try different stuff. Okay, and then another thing we can do to get our reaction times down is to run the sportsman tree. I hate to say it. Okay, if you guys aren't familiar, there's two trees. There's a pro tree and a sportsman tree, all right, or 4/10 or 5/10. The pro tree, it just turns yellow and it turns green, all right. So once you see it turn yellow, you go, all right. You don't go on green because it's already too late if you go on thing, all right. And you have to be very fast. Like once you see, you go, you react. Now the sportsman tree is a little more relaxed, is what I'm gonna say. It's got 3 yellow lights and then a green light, all right. So it goes yellow, 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 then green, all right. So by timing when you twist the throttle, when the yellow comes along, all right, and you can decide which one you want to twist the throttle. So you think you want to get a better time, like you want to go sooner, then maybe you want to pick the second yellow, all right, or if you're red lighting, then use a yellow that's closer to the green, all right. So that type of thing, all right. And maybe you could probably even shallow stage with that too, all right. So there's a lot of things we could do, all right. But yeah, just try to work on your reaction time. I think we're gonna just stopping when the light turns off is not good enough. So what we're gonna do from now on, I actually tried it in the race with Doug too, so it didn't really help us all that much, but we'll keep on practicing this, okay. So basically, I'm gonna keep my heels on the ground once we stop, and then I'm gonna roll the bike forward until my feet go flat. All right, and that way I'll know, that's the way we're gonna do it every time. All right, you have like a kind of a benchmark, all right, to measure something. Okay, so yeah, and that was it. I think I did great. All right, we did great. All right, Alta Redshift X HadesOmega, and yeah, we did great. The races we had were pretty good. All right, they were pretty close. Yeah. Especially with Brad, man, that was an awesome race. Holy crap! And then yeah, against Doug. Doug just ran his number better than ours. Okay. I think, yeah, even if I added a 10th to it, I still think Doug would have won. All right, because we got to get our reaction time down. If we can get our reaction time down, then we can play more ball with. We'll have more ammunition against Doug. That's what I say. Okay. But yeah, congratulations, Doug. I think he won again. And yeah, he gets the points for that Wednesday night drags. Okay, so that's the after action review for August 2nd, 2023 Wednesday night drags. All right. I don't know if we're going to take the Redshift next time. I don't even know if we're going to go next time. But there should be another race this month, and hopefully it'll be warm again. I don't know if I'm going to take the light B or not. All right. I kind of just fixed the throttle on it, and I'd like to see how it does. So we can either take this guy, or but I would like to get more practice on this guy. Since we're working on this one, we just got to get our reaction times down. All right. And yeah, we'll just stage deeper. All right. And I think we'll be good because this thing, it gets good. It gets good ETs, man. The ETs are like the same almost, all right. And then we just have to make sure we dial up, all right. If you notice, it's starting to get slower and slower and slower, and that's what I noticed, all right. It just gets slower and slower and slower throughout the night. The wind didn't really change all that much, so that tells me when the charge of the battery goes down, we're gonna get slower and slower and slower, all right. So just add like 1/10 of a second every time, all right? Hopefully you won't break out. All right. Anyway, I mean, that's the end of the after action review. Check out the race videos if you haven't already, but yeah, you should have watched those before this video, all right? Because this is the after action review. Okay, but yeah, check out the race video. It was a pretty good day of racing for HadesOmega. I'm pretty satisfied with it. I got to the third round. I don't normally get to the third round, guys. That's almost the semifinals. Almost. All right, HadesOmega out.